The unseen chains, beyond the illusion of freedom and a world of radical independence. What if the very pursuit of what we call radical independence is, in fact, a sophisticated trap, a gilded cage meticulously constructed from our own fears and desires, disguised as liberation? We speak of freedom, of breaking free from the shackles of expectation, yet often find ourselves bound by subtler, more insidious chains. This is the profound paradox we must confront. The yearning for authentic personal power, that unshakable inner strength that allows us to author our own lives, is a deep and ancient human drive. Yet so often, this yearning is met not with true freedom, but with an unconscious adherence to societal scripts, a fragmentation of the self that leaves us feeling adrift, susceptible to forces we barely comprehend. This is not a call to reject the world, to retreat into isolation. True independence is not found in mere negation. It is found in the mastery of the self, in the ability to stand firm amidst the currents of influence, to discern truth from illusion, and to wield one's power ethically, not as a weapon of domination, but as an instrument of self-creation. We live in an age where the illusion of freedom is pervasive, where the comfort of conformity is often mistaken for peace. We are encouraged to seek external validation, to follow the well-trodden paths, lest we disturb the placid waters of the herd. Friedrich Nietzsche spoke of this phenomenon, of the last man who desires only comfort, who blinks and believes. He contrasted this with the nascent Bormensch, the overman who possesses the courage to create their own values, to forge their own destiny, to look into the abyss and find not despair, but the raw material of self-creation. Our journey together in this space is about awakening that potential within you. It is about moving beyond the comfortable illusions and embracing the challenging yet ultimately liberating path of authentic power. We will not offer you simple platitudes or quick fixes. The path to genuine independence is rarely easy. It requires introspection, courage, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about human nature and ourselves. But here, we will illuminate that path. We will explore 4 fundamental principles, not as rigid doctrines to be blindly followed, but as insightful lenses through which we can begin to decode the subtle mechanisms of manipulation that ensnare us. Through these principles, we will begin to cultivate a form of power that is not born of aggression or ego, but of deep self-understanding, resilience, and an unshakable inner strength. This is the promise of radical independence, the power to live authentically, to shape your own meaning, and to stand as the sovereign author of your own existence. Principle 1. The Nietzschean Revaluation, deconstructing your inherited values to forge authentic will. Is your so-called freedom merely the unexamined adoption of others' values? This question, stark and perhaps unsettling, lies at the very heart of our quest for radical independence. We often believe we are charting our own course, making our own choices. Yet how much of our internal compass is truly ours and how much is borrowed, inherited, or even imposed? This initial challenge is not meant to dishearten, but to awaken. It is the first crucial step in dismantling the illusion that we are already as free as we believe ourselves to be, and to prepare the ground for cultivating authentic personal power. To understand this more deeply, we turn to Nietzsche's profound distinction between master and slave morality, as explored in On the Genealogy of Morality. This is not a blueprint for domination, but rather a powerful analytical tool. It helps us understand how certain moral frameworks can arise not from strength and self-affirmation, but from resentment, from a reactive weakness that defines itself by what it opposes. When our values are born from such a source, they can become chains, hindering our true self-mastery. As Nietzsche himself stated, the noble type of man honors himself as the criterion of value. He does not need any external approval. This is the essence of authentic power, to be the source of your own valuation. Consider the deeply ingrained societal values that shape us, their pervasive emphasis on external external validation, the paralyzing fear of judgment, the constant pressure to conform to fleeting trends. These are not neutral forces. When internalized without critical examination, they create a profound internal fragmentation. We become dependent on the approval of others, our sense of self-worth fluctuating with the winds of external opinion. This dependency is the antithesis of authentic personal power, creating a void where genuine self-authorship should reside. To begin this vital process of revaluation, engage in a simple yet profound exercise, the value excavation. Take a moment, perhaps now, perhaps later in quiet contemplation, to identify one core belief you hold about yourself or the world. It could be about your capabilities, your worth, or how you believe life should be lived. Then, with unflinching honesty, trace its origin. Does this belief resonate from the deepest part of your being, a truth you have discovered and affirmed, or is it a narrative you have inherited, a script written by others, a comfort adopted from the collective unconscious? This honest appraisal is the first tremor that can shake the foundations of borrowed identity, and it is the nascent beginning of forging an unshakable inner strength. True independence, after all, begins not with outward rebellion, but with an inward, often unsettling, honest appraisal of the very ground upon which our current identity is built. This is the foundational revaluation required to truly reclaim ourselves. Principle 2. Amor Fati. Embracing adversity as the forge of unshakable personal power. What if your greatest obstacles are not impediments to your progress, but the very architects of your authentic power? This reframing of struggle, of pain, of hardship is not a denial of suffering, but an invitation to see it anew. It is an invitation to understand that within the crucible of adversity lies the potential for a strength so profound, so unshakable, that it defines true independence. This is the essence of Nietzsche's Amor Fati, a concept often misunderstood as mere passive resignation. It is far more potent, far more active. Amor Fati is an ecstatic affirmation of all that has happened, all that is happening, and all that will happen. It is not about bearing what is necessary, nor is it about concealing the scars. It is about loving it. As Nietzsche himself declared in Ex Homo, my formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. This is not a wish for a painless existence, but a radical acceptance and embrace of the totality of one's life, with all its joys and all its agonies. History and psychology are replete with examples of individuals who transformed profound suffering into unparalleled strength. Think of those who have endured unimaginable trauma, devastating loss, or the sting of societal ostracization. Their stories are not tales of victimhood, but testaments to the human capacity for post-traumatic growth. They did not simply survive. They integrated their experiences, allowing the fire of adversity to temper their spirits, forging a unique and potent personal power that external circumstances could no longer shatter. To begin integrating this principle into your own life, consider the adversity integration technique. It is a three-step process designed to help you analyze past challenges. The goal is not to dwell in blame or to identify as a perpetual victim, but to extract the potent lessons embedded within your struggles. Ask yourself, what did this challenge teach me about myself? What inner resources did I discover or develop in its wake? How did this experience, in its own harsh way, contribute to the person I am becoming? This transforms the narrative from a lament of why me to a powerful declaration of what did this make me. Life's storms are not always meant to break us. More often, they are set to reveal the unyielding strength of our inner core. Embracing these storms, not with fear, but with a profound, even joyful acceptance, is the ultimate act of self-mastery. It is the bedrock upon which authentic, unshakable personal power is built, allowing you to stand firm no matter the tempest. Principle 3. The will to power. Mastering internal fragmentation and external manipulation. Are you the conductor of your own life force or a puppet pulled by unseen strings of desire and fear? This question cuts to the core of our experience, touching upon that unsettling feeling of internal division, of being swayed by influences we may not even recognize. It speaks to the potential for manipulation, both from the outside world and from within our own fragmented selves. To navigate this complex terrain, we must grapple with Nietzsche's concept of the will to power. This is not, as often caricatured, a crude call for brute aggression or a desire to dominate others. Instead, it is the fundamental, life-affirming drive for growth, for self-overcoming, and for the imposition of meaning onto the inherent chaos of existence. As Nietzsche articulated in The Will to Power, life itself is the will to power in its most spiritual form. It is the inherent impulse of every living thing to expand, to create, to become more. However, this vital force can be easily hijacked. Consider the subtle, pervasive ways external manipulation through sophisticated marketing, relentless peer pressure, or persuasive rhetoric can divert our energy. Simultaneously, internal fragmentation, conflicting desires, persistent self-doubt, unacknowledged resentments that fester within can paralyze our capacity for authentic self-creation. When our will to power is thus diverted, it becomes enslaved to external validation or trapped in reactive defense, rather than directed towards the noble pursuit of self-authorship. To reclaim this potent force, we introduce the will to power alignment exercise. This is a practical method designed to help you identify precisely where your energy is being dissipated. Are you caught in the web of external manipulation? Are your internal conflicts draining your vitality? Once these dissipations are recognized, the exercise guides you in consciously redirecting that energy. It involves making deliberate choices, cultivating inner discipline, and aligning your actions with your deepest, most authentic values. This is the practice of becoming the conductor, not the puppet. Ultimately, mastering the will to power is not about dominating others. It is about achieving a profound internal coherence. It is about ensuring that all aspects of yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions are directed towards the singular creative purpose of self-creation. When this alignment is achieved, you become remarkably resilient, both to the insidious pressures of the external world and the discordant whispers of internal discord. You become, in essence, the sovereign architect of your own unfolding existence. Principle 4. Perspectivism and the art of self-authorship. Creating your own truth. If truth is not a fixed monolith, a singular, objective reality waiting to be discovered, then how do you author your own reality? How do you navigate the world and create meaning without succumbing to the seductive currents of nihilism or the isolating depths of solipsism? This is the profound challenge that lies at the heart of true intellectual independence and authentic personal power. Nietzsche's concept of perspectivism offers a powerful lens through which to view this. It is the understanding that all knowledge, all perception, is fundamentally an interpretation. Our viewpoints are shaped by our individual histories, our values, our will to power. This is not a denial of reality itself, but a recognition of the interpretive nature of our experience of it. As Nietzsche profoundly stated in The Will to Power, there are no facts, only interpretations. This realization is not a descent into relativism for its own sake, but a liberation. The illusion of a singular, objective truth can, ironically, be a tool for manipulation. When others present their interpretations as absolute facts, they seek to control your understanding, your beliefs, and ultimately your actions. Recognizing the power of perspectivism liberates you. It empowers you to actively question these imposed narratives and to begin the vital work of crafting your own meaning, defining your own truth in alignment with your deepest values. This active creation is the very essence of intellectual independence and the foundation of genuine personal power. To cultivate this art of self-authorship, practice the perspective-shifting journaling technique. Regularly take a significant situation or challenge you are facing. First, write about it from your own immediate viewpoint, expressing your feelings and initial thoughts. Then, attempt to step into the shoes of another involved party, perhaps someone you perceive as an antagonist, and write from their perspective. Next, imagine a completely neutral observer, detached and objective, and record their likely interpretation. Finally, consider how your own ideal self, the person you aspire to be, would view this situation. This structured examination helps uncover hidden assumptions and allows you to craft a more empowered, nuanced, and self-authored interpretation. Radical independence, therefore, is not merely about rejecting external dictates. It is the profound courage to not just passively receive interpretations, but to actively author them. It is the realization that you possess the inherent capacity to create your own meaning, to define your own understanding of the world, and to become the undisputed master of your own narrative. This is the ultimate expression of authentic personal power, the unseen architect, integrating the four principles for radical ethical power. True radical independence is not found in isolation, a retreat from the world's complexities. Rather, it is discovered in the profound mastery of the self, a mastery that paradoxically enables a more authentic, more potent engagement with the world around us. We have journeyed through four foundational principles, and now we explore how they weave together to form the blueprint of an unshakable inner strength. The Nietzschean Revaluation has provided us with the bedrock, the courage to deconstruct our inherited values and to establish a foundation of authentic self-worth. Amor Fati has then gifted us with the resilience, the profound acceptance and love of fate, enabling us to face life's inevitable challenges not as obstacles but as crucibles. Our exploration of the will to power has shown us how to harness this integrated strength, directing its potent drive towards the singular purpose of self-creation, of imposing meaning onto the chaos. And finally, through perspectivism, we have gained the power to author our own reality, to understand that meaning is not found but made. As Zarathustra proclaimed, "I teach you the overman. Man is something that shall be overcome." These principles are the very tools for that overcoming, for transcending the limitations of the merely human. A common fear arises when we speak of personal power, the fear of egoism, of arrogance, of becoming that which we sought to escape. Yet authentic power, as forged through these principles, is ethically grounded. It is born not of a desire to dominate or manipulate, but from a deep well of self-mastery and a profound sense of responsibility. It is the power to affirm life in its entirety, to create value where none existed, and to stand as a unique, unwavering force in the world. This is not the power of the tyrant, but the power of the Creator. To solidify this transformation, consider this integration blueprint. Dedicate time each week for self-reflection, perhaps a quiet hour to contemplate each principle. For revaluation, which inherited belief did I question this week? For Amor Fati, how did I embrace a difficult moment? For the will to power, where did I consciously direct my energy towards self-creation? And for perspectivism, what new meaning did I author for myself? Consistent practice is the key to weaving these principles into the very fabric of your being. You are not a passive recipient of fate, buffeted by external forces. You are, and have always been, the conscious architect of your being. Embrace the radical freedom that this understanding brings. Dare to create yourself, not as a pale imitation of others, nor as a reactive response to the world, but as a unique, powerful, and ethical affirmation of life's infinite, unfolding potential, the eternal recurrence of your choice, embracing the power to create. We have journeyed together through the landscape of radical independence, guided by four potent principles. We began by questioning the very nature of our freedom, by challenging the inherited values that often masquerade as our own. We then embraced the crucible of adversity, learning through Amor Fati that life's hardships can indeed forge unshakable personal power. We delved into the fundamental drive of the will to power, power, understanding how to master internal fragmentation and external manipulation, directing our life force towards authentic self-creation. And finally, we explored perspectivism, empowering us to understand that truth is not found, but authored, and that we are the creators of our own meaning. These are not mere philosophical concepts to be admired from afar. They are living practices, ongoing disciplines for cultivating that radical independence and authentic personal power you seek. Now, let us consider a thought experiment that pierces to the very core of existence. Nietzsche's concept of the eternal recurrence. Imagine, if you will, that every moment of your life, every joy and every sorrow, every triumph and every failure were to repeat itself infinitely, exactly as it is for all eternity. Would you recoil in horror, crushed by the weight of such a prospect? Or would you, with a profound affirmation, embrace it? The answer to this question is not a simple yes or no. It is a measure of the depth of your self-creation, the authenticity of your values, and the degree to which you have truly affirmed your life. To truly embody radical independence is to arrive at a place where you can answer that question with a resounding yes, not out of resignation, but out of a profound love for the life you have built, for the self you have forged. This journey of self-creation, of integrating the fragmented pieces of our psyche into a coherent whole, resonates deeply with Carl Jung's concept of individuation. It is a lifelong process, a profound commitment to becoming not just a person, but a unique, integrated individual, a conscious synthesis of our conscious and unconscious aspects. The 4 principles we have explored are not merely steps on this path. They are the very tools that allow us to excavate, to integrate, and to affirm the distinct reality of our own becoming. They are the means by which we can face the daunting prospect of eternal recurrence, not with dread, but with the quiet confidence of one who has chosen their own path and affirmed its worth. This path requires courage. It demands a willingness to engage with these ideas, to practice the insights, and to share your discoveries. For in this sharing, in the community of those who also seek to author their own lives, we find not only support, but also a deepening of our own understanding. So, I encourage you, delve deeper, practice the principles, engage with the uncomfortable truths, embrace the power that is already within you, waiting to be consciously directed. And as you move forward, living each day with intention and affirmation, ask yourself this final, all-encompassing question. What will you choose to affirm again and again for all eternity?